Here with Mark Finney, the head of client sales at The Guardian. You've just come off stage having given a seminar called Digital Revolutions. I was wondering if you could tell me how traditional business models have been changed by the rise of the internet and online channels.
I think that my aim today was to share three learnings which we've had with people in the audience, and I think a lot of traditional business models have been changed radically. I think that there are three things that we've learned, and the first is that we are going through an absolute revolution at the moment in the media and in the creative business. And the nature of going through a revolution is that when you're in a revolution, you don't know what's going to emerge at the other side. And you also don't know how long that revolution will take. So we're faced with a vast array of uncertainties. I think that my first learning is a kind of negative learning. All the cliches about change are true. People fear change, it makes them feel uncomfortable, it makes them feel unsettled. So what they tend to do is fall back on their old behaviours. Don't do that. That's my first learning. My second learning is the core, the nature, the essence of your business may change, as it has in newspapers, with the rise of what we call mutualisation, which is putting together newspapers in conjunction with our readers and users. And that doesn't matter either. And furthermore, not only does it not matter, there's nothing you can do about it. Your business has to work its way through this if it's anything like ours. And the third learning is that businesses can grow and shrink in size too. So that's something that may happen in the newspaper business, in the media business, in the creative business, and that's something that we just have to work our way through too. So what I'm not saying is that we know what the future is going to look like. What I'm saying is that be prepared for the future.
And obviously, in this sort of digital revolution, some businesses that you might have expected to fail have actually done very well, and some businesses that would appear profitable have failed.
Yeah.
Just wondering if you had any insights into what determined that.
I think luck, a lot of the time, but crucially a willingness to accept that you've got to invest in possibilities for the future. I'm desperately trying to say don't be afraid to fail, because that's obviously one of the most hammiest, biggest cliches you can have. But I think it's really important that people are prepared to experiment in lots of different areas. That's the nature of not knowing what's going to happen in the future. My favourite example I really love about a business that perhaps people thought would fail was Encyclopaedia Britannica, who everyone thought back in the kind of 1990s would be absolutely just swept away by Encarta and then Wikipedia, but have survived with an online offering, and survived with a print offering, and are still profitable, just different and smaller.
And what about, we're obviously in Dubai, thinking about the MENA region, do you know any businesses that responded particularly well here, or what businesses could do to respond better?
I think Emirates. It's a real stand-up example for me of a business that has really responded well. Look at how it's reshaped its business around the way that people consume content, look at how it puts its money out there in sponsorship. That's the one that obviously springs to mind. I mean, that may be because it's also, I'm cognizant of that because it's the biggest brand, choosing the words carefully here, the biggest brand in this particular area.
And then finally, in the UK, there's been a lot of reporting recently about the BBC and their cuts, and one of the suggestions was that they might cut their website in half potentially, and your seminar touched on online news channels. I was wondering what you thought about BBC cutting its offerings so drastically.
I think the BBC is going through a phase where it's asking itself some kind of existential questions about what it's for. And I'm not really qualified to comment on the exact nature of its cuts. I think we corporately think the BBC is a fantastic institution that does a wonderful job for a relatively small amount of money that's paid by each of the kind of taxpayers or licence fee payers perhaps that use it. However, I think that we would also say that it needs to examine very carefully where it's treading, and sometimes it shouldn't do things just because it can and crowd out commercial rivals. I also think it's very sad when people kind of lose their jobs no matter what they're doing through all this kind of stuff, so I don't wish to sound heartless about that too, but I think it's time for the BBC to look at where its business begins and ends.
Excellent, thank you very much.